no architectural although no architectural photographers in the strict sense, they were able to articulate photography simultaneously as document and artistic expression. Over time, this synthesis transformed the way architecture and industrial landscape were recorded. In the mid-50s, they began photographing industrial structures, like tumeening and steel. Many of these recently dismantled in the Siegerland region, where Bernd Becker was born. Their intention was to preserve the memory of a landscape on the verge of disappearance. They later referred to this initial body of work as anonymous sculpture, factory buildings without identifiable authorship, stripped of ornament, and present as pure industrial objects. This work consists as documenting various industrial typologies: winding towers, blast furnaces, gas tank, storage depots, and etc. From a formal standpoint, their images are characterized by frontal framing, elevated point of view, diffuse light, and completely overcast skies. The absence of shadows and the near elimination of the horizon produce the object isolated from its surrounding, and the structure always occupies a similar position within the frame. From this technical procedure emerged the most influential contribution, the construction of typological series. They group their photograph in set of 9, 12, 16 or more images arranged not by temporal or geographical criteria, but by formal proximity. Examples of the same time taken in different years and countries are presented side by side to enable comparison. The sequence operates as a perceptual system. It generates tension between each isolated image and its relationship with the others, and activates morphological, conceptual, and sensory association. This serial model did not emerge independently. In developing their typological set, the Becker drew open earlier photographic precedent, particularly from 1920. From Albert Reichenbach's past, especially in her Root Valley series, they adopt a descriptive approach to documenting new industrial structures with precision and without aesthetic affection. From Karl Blossfeld, they borrowed a logic of neutral and controlled lighting that allowed for meticulous examination of form applied, in his case to plants, and adapt into the study of industrial architecture. Finally, from Walker Evans, they incorporate the idea of the photographical series as a visual narrative structure, using a reference Evans image of a church in South Carolina. Through these models, the Beckers established a distinct method that combined documentary rigor, morphological clarity, and comparative thinking. Anonymous sculpture marked the definite shift toward this morphological and comparative approach, surprising their initial preservationist impulse. This methodological development led from 1971 onwards to travel and working period in the United States, culminating in their participation in the new topographic exhibition. There, they met Stephen Shore, who would become a key figure in color photography during those years. Shore, unlike the Beckers, worked in color, documenting the transformation of the American suburbs driven by the growth of automobile culture, commercial expansion, and road infrastructure. His image fluctuated between compositional order and the disorder inherent in a rapidly modernization landscape. He was later invited to teach at the Düsseldorf Academy, partly because the Becker acknowledged their own lack of mastery in the color photography. Among the students who inherit and reformulate the Becker method is Candida Hofer, whose work is centered in institutional interiors. Her photographs are generally axial, symmetrical, unavid, and defined by luminous clarity that reveals every detail of space. Thomas Truth, also trained in Dusseldorf, expanded this legacy to a museum, public space, and urban cities. His work explored the relationship between viewer, artwork, and environment, and later documents cities transformed by globalization, where New York order grid contrasts with the organic spatial structure of Naples. In the present, a figure closely aligned with this discussion is Bas Prinsen, Dutch architect and photographer. His work, both collaborative and personal, reflect a tension between landscape and urban artifice. In his series of Edge of Five Cities, composition displays the horizon, juxtapose volumes, and use alignments that blur the boundaries between vegetation and architecture, producing image where it becomes unclear whether we are looking at construction or ruin, expansion, or abandon. In some image, architecture dominates, in other, it dissolves into landscape. In both the Becker and Vasprinsen, as well as throughout much of the surrounding tradition, photography becomes a tool for re-signifying the banal. The camera, especially the large format camera, does more than record. It reframes perception and invites new ways of seeing reality.
Well, and now we can quickly go through some of the things that we would like to or encourage you to think about. I don't know if it's possible for you to go to the mirror board. Now we are not sharing the screen anymore. We I don't know if you are already there in the mirror board, you share with us. Or if you want, I can share the screen with the mirror board, but I'm not sure if it's going to work.
I would try sharing it.
We can share it here, guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Send it to them.
Mm-hmm. Can you see it?
Yes, perfectly.
Perfect.
We place in the top of the strips in a way we place kind of a guide. Yeah, exactly. Because the idea for today's class is to start discussing and to measuring a little bit the different aspects of an image. Most of you may know this kind of like photographical rules or aspects of an image we can discuss about, and we've been discussing a lot this week. These aspects of images and maybe the like this genealogy of that of photographers and Manu just did. It was kind of a way of putting together different schools or agendas in relation to these rules, like the Beckers, Candida Hofer, or Stephen Shore. They all have their own way of using these kind of rules, and there are some rules that maybe we are not putting here, but we are trying to put here the more we can. And the idea is we selected 6 aspects of an image, which they are the format, the figure, the distance, the perspective, the depth, and the grid. And maybe we can go very quickly through them. Um, of course, the format is if it's horizontal, vertical, or square, there are proportions, and they are they depends on the type of camera. Manu mentioned the the big format. Uh, I don't know if it's 6.7 or 7.6, but there are a lot of proportions. But we can mainly talk about the three: the vertical, the horizontal, and square. So we will give you some references to analyze, and you will have to tell if it's which format they have. Then for the second aspect of the image, we have the figure, and this is this is when it gets a bit fun to work with, because for exteriors it's easier to talk about the figure, because I could for example here I could say, okay, this is the figure. But what happens in an interior? Sometimes the interior photography is not focusing in an object, it's focusing in a space. So we have to define which is the figure. And sometimes the figure is a wall, a window, a plane, a curtain, and it's the like the figure or the silhouette that defines and that gives the image its structure in a way. But the thing with the figure is that there are like mainly two type of figures, like the ones that are centered and the ones that are shifted. They could be shifted horizontally or vertically. And something to think about with the figure is its relation with the frame. If, for example, we say this figure is center, is because the margin and the distance between the figure and the frame, it's more or less the same in the four sides, right? While in the second one, if we draw this silhouette very quickly, we can tell that this distance is a bit longer than shorter, sorry, than this one. Um, so the third aspect is the distance, and this distance is the distance between this figure and the eye or the camera, right? So this is easier. We have the long distance, medium distance, a close up, or it could be like a short distance. And then we have the perspective. And again, here, this is a very important aspect of the images, because perspective, we can separate it in two, but there are also a bit more that you can tell that it's a 1 point perspective or 2 point perspective, that the vanishing points, sometimes they are within the frame and sometimes they are out of the frame. And another aspect of perspective is the altitude of the camera. If the camera is placed maybe as we ask you to do with the model, place the camera in 140 meters from the floor, but it could be an image that it's like in maybe 10 meters high. So that would change the perspective and how the lines and the vanishing points are placed in the frame. So we will encourage you to, for example, with perspective, set here where the vanishing lines are coming and where the vanishing point is it's getting, to understand where is the horizon. It's a very important thing in an image to understand where the horizon is in relation to the figure. Then the very last two, the depth, it's this becomes a bit more like compositional aspect of the image. That is what the different we call it planos in Spanish, but it's like the foreground, midground, a background, and we give them three names, but sometimes you have more than one plane or one ground. For example, in this case, we can tell that this mud here is the foreground, but here this house could be another foreground. The midground could be the building, and the background could be the sky and the rest of the building that they are in the back. So selecting them, thinking about them. And maybe you have heard before the grids, and the grids are a good way to understand composition and to take decisions and to make decisions. And here we suggest a grid that here in Miro is super easy to make grids because you have a grid in the left part um, to, to to put grids, and here we said a 3 and 4 grid. The 4 lines should be horizontal, and that's because you get the center, the vertical center of the image, and then of course you can divide the vertical in 3 or 4 or whatever, but we are used to dividing in 3, and sometimes this photo it's super graphical in a way that there are almost these turns in the buildings that are coincident with these divisions, but sometimes it's not a line. Sometimes this is an open space, the center of an object, or the edge of an object, etc. So at the right part of your all of your images, we place one exterior and one interior image. The photograph that we used for explaining these aspects, they were Maxime Delvaux images, photographs. Maxime Delvaux is a photographer of architecture that we really love and we really follow. And then we selected different photographies from photographers that Manu mentioned in the lecture. There's Bas Prinsen, there's Stephen Shore, Candida Hofer, and some others. So we would like you to maybe here in class, I don't know, and there, Gonzalo and Carolina tell us if it's okay with you. But maybe we can start like copying these references like this, for example, and analyzing it, following the 6 aspects, like pointing which format, then copying and telling the figure, where is the figure, its relation with the frame, copying it, and etc. And maybe we can give a last one, a 7th one with everything put together in one image. The same with interior. The idea is to start thinking in these aspects, and then we will start working with the images that you produce for today's class, and again analyze those images, or maybe one of those images. Is it okay with you? What do you think?
Sounds very good.
Yes.
Can I ask you that this explanation add the names of the photographers next to the images so the students know the names?
Yes, yes,
But if here
yes. We will add it. I think also in most of the cases, the name of its. Yeah, no. We are going to put the names there.
Carrie, you have to speak.
you could hear me, tell me what I said,
Yeah, now I can hear you. Before I couldn't.
that maybe we could, this is super nice. I thought we could maybe have the names of the photographers next.
Yeah.
Just that.
Perfect. Well, I don't know if the students the guys want to start analyzing those images while we put the names.
Yeah.
Yes. Shall we follow up, starting in the individual projects? Is that what you suggest, Thomas?
Each
Uh,
student now works on analyzing the images, right?
yeah, what our idea is to first analyze these references,
Yeah.
and then we can quickly go through the student images, selecting 2 of those images, analyze it again, but with the student images.
Perfect. Okay.
Y no tendrá alguna duda de lo que hablamos recién.
How much time do you want them to spend on the given images?
I would say
Y
uh,
30 minutes,
50,
1 hour.
50 for the exterior, 50 for interior, 50 minutes.
Yes, but
15,
like
15,
first,
sorry.
so first I look at the exterior, at the given images you've given us, right?
Yes.
How much time for that?
15 minutes and then 15 minutes for the interior. And
Okay.
if any student have a question, the idea is to ask us some questions and we can, because sometimes it's a matter of discussion. It's not that,
Yeah, yeah.
especially in foregrounds and stuff like that, we can discuss about it. It's not like a exact science.
Yeah.
Okay. The best might be that each of the students then shares their own screen. No?
Yeah, I think they can just connect. They don't have to use my computer with it.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And are they connected on Zoom, the students?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Is everybody connected on Zoom?
Everyone should have the link.
Are you connected to the phone?
So we can, so that individually groups share their own screen. Otherwise, you have different there. Talk about that. Zoom and we also need access.
But the link works.
Yeah, but we.
Shul, another thing that we were wondering if there was any question from the kind of a lecture we did, or something that somebody needs to comment on. Just
Yeah.
before maybe we went super fast to the kind of the exercise, and you want to talk about something. Just it's your
I
class.
think this would be good. Yeah, they are just getting into the Zoom and into the Miro. It's a bit complex with
Yes.
with all of that.
Yes.
But this would be a good thing, I think. Thank you very much for the first intro. I think I also have some questions, and I think it would be nice with some discussion actually about it. Let's just give them maybe 2 minutes to
Yeah, of course.
do that. Yeah, maybe we just reiterate, because for me it was not 100% clear, guys. Okay, each one of them, they will look at the references that you gave them, no?
Yes.
And then we discuss them collectively, interior and exterior. And then we go to
Yes.
2 projects.
No, we said that we can go quickly through the all of the images and selecting 2 image by project.
Okay, that was it.
Each group will then analyze its own image, its own selected image.
Yeah, perfect. That's clear then.
Yeah, maybe the idea today is to have like define two cameras, one interior and one exterior, and then maybe they can work through those cameras, those points of view, like shifting a little bit the camera or changing the angle, but try to define more or less 2 points of view and then go through it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So maybe we can start. Meanwhile, maybe you
Hola, Caro.
¿Qué hacen? Buenísimo.
Voy a servir un poquito de agua.
Estuvo re bien. Están en 3 pantallas, ¿sabían?
Estamos en 3 pantallas.
Sí, te voy a mostrar, espera.
Tenemos una pantalla asignada para cada uno.
Can I disconnect?
Yes, but I'm doing.
Somos omnipresentes.
Ah,
I think just because Gonzalo sent a different link, and then they.
I should send it.
Okay, what do you want?
Can I disconnect? Can I move your computer?
This is like in a
Les quiero
special.
mostrar.
¿Esta es una clase especial, un aula especial, Caro, o...?
Esta es como, se llama Didactec. Hay una pantalla, otra y otra. Es como una super habitación que tenemos.
Buenísimo,
Y
está
ahí
buenísima la
tienen
sesión,
cuatro
¿eh?
pantallas y está esta estructura acá, que se puede bajar y subir, pero es una habitación súper grande que la podemos usar para charlas, pin-ups, lo que sea.
Increíble. Nosotros somos muy amigos de Facundo Fernández, que yo estuve con
Sí,
él el domingo y
ah,
me contó que había estado en su casa, ¿no? ¿Puede ser?
sí, lo fui a entrevistar en una época para un proyecto en el que sigo trabajando,
Sí, muy buena onda, Facu.
pero los quiero contactar para otro proyecto, así que voy a hacer otra reunión con ustedes. A
Bueno,
ver si los puedo enganchar.
re. Buenísimo.
Bueno, si quieren tomarse un break,
Yeah, I think 5 minutes. We will take at least 5-10 minutes to look into the images now, and I think they maybe we can include the discussion afterwards. I
Yes.
think it's more productive because now they're surrounded
but
by technical
but the idea is now they look at the two photographs for half an hour.
references.
Yeah, and then we're gonna
Yes.
find which of their own images.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe we can, while they're analyzing them, we can put the names and also start defining some of their images that they can work with.
Yeah.
Just to temporize, which time are we finishing? Just to think.
3:30,
In
3:45, 4:30.
no 5 o'clock in 2 hours. I mean 1 hour 45
Okay.
roughly.
Well,
Is that okay?
yes, perfect.
Mm,
I will set the timer.
yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, I'm curious to ask you some questions. Actually, maybe we can start there informally
Yes, of
in
course.
terms of what we saw from your work, and I think it's interesting. I think the students will maybe recognize this. But I think one interesting aspect when we addressed this last week to the students was, what's the purpose of doing this if our project is not done, or if it's not yet in a point where we can, even start to understand what are the qualities that we want to shoot and what is it that we want to frame, no? And I think this first step of framing a picture or taking a picture without a building, in terms of the pictures you showed of Simone Bossi or Maxime Delvaux, you know, I think it would be interesting to talk about how much of the project is done already there in terms of how to see, how to select, and then how to manipulate, how to interpret, and how to construct, And I think this would be interesting or maybe to expand a bit on this. What level of discussion appears also at that moment.
Yeah, I think I didn't read it like properly. Manu probably did, but there is a title on the book by Bas Princeton that is something like the building was already there. No, Manu, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is something like that. It's a super nice title because I think that it talks about that, like like, and for us it's very important because we always have that in mind when we request a client like to go and take some side pictures. They have to imagine like the building is already there, or that it's not an easy task because I don't know, you need to frame like the invisible structure. It's a complex exercise, but really nice
Yeah,
also.
and maybe there are kind of two ways of getting into a project like this. It's like this a matter of presence, and it could be like the presence of a single piece, like a finished project, or then as we later started to think about, it's like the different layers of a project, and we understood, and that's why we mentioned working in Alamofaya that much, because we are proud of it, and also because we understood there that at the beginning you think produce a project in a more traditional way, that it's producing, like controlling the, I don't know, the structure, the grids, and the organization of a building. Then start thinking about the section, deciding the heights of everything, and then you have like a resultant volume that then you will test in an image how it works. And we had the feeling that in many cases, and while we work with different offices, it happens a lot that sometimes they didn't produce a 3D, and they of course they didn't have insertions, and they didn't know how it's going to be with the relation between that finished building and the site and the context. And you can define context in like 1,000 ways. Um, but for us, it was always like a good idea to think about these different layers in relation to the context. And the only way to think about it is to test it in images, like looking at this only the structure and the shape of it and the morphology of it, the proportions. So when a lot of offices that we work with, we send the first camera that we tested with the model they gave, or the model we produce. They start to change the whole project, because they realize that some things they were produced, and they couldn't control, while this like a stage of first plans, then sections, then model. So for us, it's a matter of iterations, and you can start by an image, you can start by a plan, you can start from a photograph, you can start from a model, and it's not a matter of telling, uh, like it's not the truth, it's not the thing that you will. The only way of doing good architecture is through renderings. You could do it with I don't know, sculpting things with mud, but it's a matter of sometimes inverting or reverting the process to think about it and to make some decisions earlier in the process, or invert the decisions, the order of decisions.
Yeah, and I have another question. When we speak about the construction in the practical terms, in terms of the grid, in terms of the invisible guidelines that negotiate the composition, no? We always speak about equilibrium somehow. We speak about balance, and composition is often addressed in terms of that, no? In terms of
Okay.
a certain harmony. But for example, what is interesting is very interesting. You brought all these references of Walter Stevens and Candida Hoffer. And for example, there is the first image you show of Candida Hoffer, this sort of low-sided perspective of this supermarket, or some sort of green, kind of long building. We can see that there is this sort of two-point perspective almost that is slightly tilted. And that's another level, no? That when you start manipulating perspectives in real life or in the virtual sort of modelscape. But I wanted to talk a bit about this idea of constructing also a certain dissonance or a certain tension. Do you have mechanisms for this as well, or do you
Do it naturally.
Yeah, or is that something that enters also the discussion of an image at some point?
I can quickly relate. I don't know what the guys think, but the, the idea of imperfection sometimes, and the way because we can start by saying, why is this realism about? Why are we seeking for this realism? And one of the ideas that we are kind of discussing is that if you get a render to be hyper realistic, you can sometimes forget that it's a render and think that it's a project. And that's for us is super important. That you're not thinking in a renderistic terms. You're thinking of a space. You're thinking of a building, and that's for us is super important. So a good way to getting into realism is to work with imperfection, and like it's a way of breaking idealism, but at the same time regenerate that idealism again, because when we relate to the physical world and the physical reality, we are uh, getting in touch with all of the imperfect things of the world and charging them and projecting into them our ideas and our idealism. But with the render, you start by something very uh, idealistic, like a wide, perfect camera. The camera is not it's super clean. It's perfect. Everything is perfect. So you need to understand how the imperfection works and then try to use that imperfection to replicate like a new idealism after that imperfection. So you can kind of shift things, tweak things. A tree could be a bit tilted because, but then you need to get the more cultural, beautiful way of taking a photograph of that imperfect tree. Um, it's hard to talk about this, but I think it's a it's the most important thing on doing good images. Understanding that limit between imperfection, realism, idealism, the beauty, and because if you get too idealistic, it would look like a model. If you get too imperfection, it would look like a video game. It's a matter of compose and playing with those ingredients.
Nice.
Very nice.
If there are any of the students that is ready, maybe we could also start.
Yeah. I think we could start, huh? Who wants to start? Anybody? Callum,
It seems
you're
like
nothing
they're
else?
looking at their phones. You would love to?
Or we start from the
Connect,
beginning.
Carlos.
I'm sorry.
That's
Turn on
right.
your
I'm opening
camera,
up all your world.
You haven't connected to Zoom? Do you have the link?
There's a lot of.
Do you have the link,
Yes.
Carlos? Do you have the link of Zoom? Where is the link of Zoom?
It's on the posters, but it's also in your Moodle calendar.
In the model message on the calendar.
Yeah, and the like info of the calendar.
Maybe we can start with somebody else. Who is the first?
No, but it's great. I'm just going through them, and
Come in.
especially interiors, they are tricky to define the figure, but they are defining it super well.
In general, maybe we start by asking you, what do you feel about this lineup of pictures that you see?
Yes, we thought that it was. There are some things that we wanted. That's why we wanted to analyze these references, because some of the things that there are a lot of images that we think that they could be amazing, and we will need to discuss whether if we start shifting and like the discussion of the horizon line, that there was something that we wanted to talk with them, because in most of the cases we thought that maybe there was too many floor or too much floor in the frame. So that's why we call frame space frame, because it was for us a matter of now we have the cameras, now we have to frame them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Really?
But maybe we should, Charlotte and Camila, are you ready? Are you ready? Since you are the first ones on the mirror. Then we could start with a first project. We start from
Yes.
the top. Charlotte and Camilla's project. Yeah. And maybe we can start by maybe the students giving a very quick sort of context in terms of what the project is.
Yes.
The keywords that we have. I mean, 2 minutes just in terms of, and also the context of maybe some sort of impressions that lead you to take or to shoot the project in this or that direction. Yeah.
Okay.
I shared the Zoom links in the mirror.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. So when you're ready, Charlotte.
We can start. Yeah. So,
Lower your voice.
sorry, guys.
You want to share your screen? Yeah, maybe that's better.
Yeah, I think that maybe we could start with some of the examples with the references, just to have some extra time, and maybe just for the rest to listen to it, and maybe adding some of these comments.
Yeah.
But
Sounds
maybe
good.
we won't cover all of the references, just to have some time to cover all the images of the students, and
Yeah.
try to
Mhm.
finish the class at least with the selection of which is the camera, the interior, and which is the exterior that we would like them to work and to tweak for next class, and also add this kind of layer of material experimentation.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, but
Would it make sense that you share the mirror board if you while
Yeah,
you're
I can share.
Yeah. Okay, great.
we start there then. Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Super.
Perfect. So I don't know the here Camila and Charlotte. I don't know, Gonzalo, if you want to start first by them explaining the project, or
Yes,
You
we
can
can.
speak.
Charlotte and Camilla will connect.
You can speak now.
Okay. No. That's a little wild.
I don't know if anybody has headphones. I think you can solve it with I don't know.
They are coming here and they're speaking from here.
Okay.
Sorry, this is all like a
No,
bit
don't worry.
back and forth.
Because the sound is not
Yeah.
working in the
Yes,
settings
yes.
there. Okay, this is nice. Then we worked with.
Hello.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Should we go to the? It's. So you want to share the screen or?
Do you prefer to share your screen?
Okay, sorry. No, like
No,
here.
here.
Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah, maybe it's better. Okay.
Okay, I will let you.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, so
And
we're
then-
supposed to talk about the project.
Great.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so we're supposed to.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So our project, it's about that we have these different layers about the communal gardens, for the on the ground floor, it's supposed to be like the big communal space with different workshops. And then on the, yeah, you see it here, it's like the greenhouse that is able to open up to the outside, but it's also connected to the interior space. And then for each level with the units, there's going to be similar gardens. And we want to have this like kind of fluid space between the gardens and the units, which are created on these kind of balconies.
Right.
And the structure is a steel structure, and then the
Cables.
cables, yeah, that are attached to the outside.
And you have like two main volumes, right? One is a bit like more close, and then you have the greenhouse like.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Yeah.
this structure that's inside, and then that's the thermal mass kind of, and then outside is the greenhouse or the outdoor space.
Mhm.
Actually, you have like three different space because you
Yeah.
have like this winter garden, like the interior space and the balcony, something like that. No, it's more
Exactly,
open.
yeah. On the other side, you don't see it in the image, or like in the section on the left side, it's like a balcony outside, and then the right side would be the greenhouse.
Great. And how did you produce that image?
With Inkscape.
That's right. Super great. And I don't know if you want to go through the images that you produced. Or,
These new images that you brought, they were made by Blender.
These images was captured views from Rhino.
From Rhino. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So I guess we just try to capture interior images of the different levels.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then from the outside, kind of like going around the different facades where we see, yeah, how the greenhouse is kind of like touching with the ground, but then also the balconies on the other side.
Mm.
And then we
So
have some images from the interior where it's like the connecting space between the interior and the greenhouse.
Yeah. So this is the greenhouse on the ground floor. So we also have chosen like the connection between these two, as you said. Yeah.
Mhm. And like the tricky thing you have is that you get I think the last image is from the street, the other side of the street.
Yeah.
But in some way you cannot show in that exterior the greenhouse, right?
Mm,
No,
no.
it's the,
So
yeah,
the greenhouse could be
on the
like,
other side.
this.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
And for example, I have a question. If you have to say in most of the images, which distance did you use for the photograph of the images that you brought?
50 millimeters
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
for most of them.
You think it's more long, medium, or close up?
Close up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that maybe for the exterior one, like in this instance of the project, it will be nice to have more like a medium or a long distance to understand a little bit more the relationship between the context.
Yeah.
For example, like the last one, it's more like medium or a long distance. I think that there are nice cameras, but again, we are going to speak a lot about these 6 points, like because you are doing these screenshots from the Rhino, you bring all the formats horizontal, but sometimes what we do, I don't know if maybe Emil has like the microphone open. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Okay, perfect. Now it works. Yeah, maybe what we do sometimes when you have like this framing that it's horizontal because of the caption of the screen, maybe then you can recrop and you can test different framings or formats for each image. Yeah, I don't know, Tommy, maybe if you want to make like an example or
Yeah, I would like to relate it with the references you have, because I think that something that is important, and we do it all the time. Sometimes we are not thinking it like conscious, but it's defining the figure, right? Like, for example, if you have to define the figure of your reference, which is a figure and how is it?
Mm, well, yeah, like it's a bit shifted, so we see a lot of the front, but then yeah, you can kind of guess, I guess, the dimension of how wide it goes to the back.
Yes, and for example, in terms of like shape, you can kind of you can tell that this could be the figure, right?
Mm,
That's easier than in an interior that which is a figure. Is it the column? Is it the facade? Sometimes it's a combination of elements in the interior. But starting with the exterior, for us it's important to define the figure and then start defining the rest of the aspects. When you define the figure, in your case, it would be the building like this. In this image, the figure could be this one. So now what Hero was talking about is about the 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 horizon, the proportions of, for example, the sky in relation to the proportions of the ground or the floor, the proportions of this neighbor building that is in the right, and then the proportion of the other part. So the distance between this figure and the frame, it's one of the most important things to define like a good camera.
mhm.
So something, maybe this example and this reference is not the best for this that I'm going to say, but sometimes we start by giving the same proportion of ground than sky. So for example, here I will add a bit of white sky here to make it look like that.
Yeah.
And then you can start uh, cropping, trying to again to make the lateral, I don't know, the sides of the this silhouette of this figure more or less the same. No. So that's you can always start like that, like same margins in the top and the bottom and same margins in the sides. We would suggest to start always like that, and then you start to decide it. For example, it's important to open up a little bit because, for example, you can tell that for you the figure is not the entire volume but the main facade. So you can say, okay, for me this is the figure and this is important. So I will try to measure the distance between that figure and the frame, and I will try to make it the same in the other part. Can you follow me that idea? And then, for example, you can start going the other way. So maybe there's no need to show that much of the floor in the bottom part. So you can like double the sky than the ground you have. That's another way of thinking. But always start by defining the figure and defining the distance between the figure and the frame. That would always help you to start organizing an image with the camera.
yeah, it's in a similar way as at least we do with architecture. You first you have a grid and you start organizing like the spaces and the structure. The same happen with the image, and then you can start like I don't know changing, for example, if you need more space, like because you have an auditorium, you are going to probably have less columns, so you are giving more more air to the space. And the same happened to the image, as Tommy was saying. Maybe you have more compact in the street, but more distance in the sky.
And another thing that maybe we suggest for you to do is every time you start like placing cameras, now we are talking exclusively to exteriors, right? But try to get at least one 2 points perspective and one point perspective. So a frontal one and a sided one. For example, we can go to the plan and you can say, well, a camera from this point of view is more or less the one that we are talking about, and maybe you can find another one that is frontal.
Yeah, I think that this camera that you did with Endscape, it's took from this part, no? Like in the opposite side. That, yeah, I mean, you should make a lot of tests, but that one is like a nice camera, no? Like I think that that facade, I don't know how it's related with the context, but it looks nice.
Yeah,
Also.
maybe I don't know. Maybe you know have it in that computer, but something that maybe you can add later is the the main plan of the plot with some of the buildings that are inside. I don't know if you produced that already. So you can start thinking in like which elements of the context you would like it to be present on the image. So, for example, I would love to test the one you already did, but from a standing point of view,
Yeah.
and maybe moving the camera a bit backwards to make the building that is opposite to this one, so that it's maybe here, right? You have a building here. To make it appear a little bit and to help as you use this one, for example, in this image, but from the inner court in a way that you have. But of course, we need to see how thick is that building, if it would cover the building too much. I don't know.
Yes.
And maybe for the interiors, again, for the interiors, it's not that easy, but it's always important to define a figure. In your opinion, for example, in the second one, in this one, which is the figure.
Because yeah, this one maybe.
Yes, agree.
Yeah.
Well, and if you could analyze this image now, is a 2 point of view or 1 point of point perspective? Sorry.
Point, I would say.
One.
I guess we were trying to make it 2 points.
Yeah, every time you have like the horizontal lines parallel to your frame, I think every time it's a 1 point. So here, if you continue all the lines, you will get your horizon like to vanishing point, and then in that vanishing point, sorry, there is the horizon. And there is a relationship between the lines, the vanishing point, and the horizon, that the horizon is always the height of the camera. I will like that. So, for example, if in this column you have here, or this frame you have here, that part of the frame is exactly the same height of the camera, and each element that is crossed by the horizon is the same height of the camera in the perspective. So if we go back to the idea of this figure, which is the relation of this figure with the framing for you? The distances, the position. Is it frontal? If it's shifted, in which direction?
I would say centered.
Mm. Centered.
Okay. So if it's center, is that you have the figure more or less the same distance between the two sides of the image.
Mm-hmm.
And here is the same distance.
No, it's not the same distance.
Now here we have like a vertical shifted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as we said, we suggest always starting by a center.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For example, get rid of that part of the floor. Another thing to try to avoid sometimes it's when, and this is related with the angle of the lens, is that some parts could be too distorted sometimes. For example, we define this figure, and if this figure is an exterior view, what do you think? This is a long shot, a medium shot, or a close-up?
I would say medium.
Medium, could be medium. The thing is that sometimes when we open up too much of the lens, some parts of the project that they are not communicating anything important for us. For example, this part of the image, or for example, this part of the image, it's almost the same size of the figure.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to give the figure a lot more presence and like kind of importance in the frame, you can crop it and get rid of the parts that are taking too much attention without telling anything super important.
Yeah.
So now we start to balance a little bit more the parts that are close to the frame to the frame, but they are not that big or as big as the figure or as important as the figure in the framing. That's a way of think about it. And then you can start cropping and thinking when is it too, for example, if we do this like that, maybe that's too much. Maybe we only see the figure and the figure doesn't have a relation with the context. So we need to open a little bit. So it's a matter of tweaking and adjusting
Yeah.
to get the good balance between the figure and the background. I don't know, Manu or Ger, if you want to add something.
Yeah, I just put there like a reference from Artifactory Lab. This is a project by Bruder and Data architects, and I think that your space is quite similar. But again, once again, as Tommy, as you were watching this project, no, a little bit. Yeah, I think that everything that Tommy was saying it applies a little bit to this image. It's like it's a little bit shifted like below, like this figure it's lost because of the all the animation and the things that are happening, but it's one point perspective and the space is quite similar. But then I think the same Tommy was saying, maybe the best thing is to try to have like this center um, object, no? Like figure.
Yeah, and another thing that I was about to mention is the rule of the grids. The relation between the figure and the grid. And now you can see with the grid where is the camera in relation to the figure. And when we we do the same with the Artifactory Lab image. We notice that the camera is not placed in the center of the space, it's shifted or moved a little bit to the outside. What do you think is the camera moved to the right and not to the left? What are they trying to do? I think you're muted, right? I think in the bottom left part of the screen, you have the audio.
It's weird because they don't seem to be muted.
Yeah. Maybe we are not getting that. That's it.
Now it works, huh?
It works?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
Again.
Sorry, you were
Okay.
talking about why do you think the camera is closer to the right part and not to the left part?
I guess to make the connection to the outside with
Mm.
the interior part.
Yes. So it's not something that you should do, but something that you can test.
Yeah.
If you want to place a camera in the edge of the half of the space, or you would like, for example, to be a third, maybe you can divide the space in three
Mm.
and place a camera in that third, for example.
Yeah.
Maybe we can keep adding like layers of understanding, but with another groups, so everybody can.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to account, maybe we cannot go through all the groups, guys.
Yes.
But maybe we could choose some that have some sort of distinct maybe image features.
Yes.
You know, we have towers, we have long buildings, we have courtyards where there's a lot of context or a lot of outdoor space.
Yeah, maybe
What do
you
you
can
think?
send it on the next one.
Exactly. Maybe you can choose which images do you think that could talk more collectively.
Hmm.
to
Well, we
people?
think that the second one have the Google model, so it's good to discuss about depth, for example, in that one.
Yeah, the tower. That's Jen and Emil.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Hi guys.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Yeah. So in this great lottery, we took the tower typology, and I think it's been really interesting to try to do these renders and looking around at the other groups' renders because the tower typology is so distinct. Where you can sort of get a section that the tower you almost want all of it to understand it. And with the garden, we've also it's a bit split. It's a bit of a duality because every second level is this very closed core deck, and then every second level is this very open garden with the glass facade. Yeah.
Great. And you already did an insertion, right?
Yes.
Great. It looks great. Yeah,
And
something
it's
that.
fun. We don't have it in the Google model because it's a bit far away. But this part of the harbor we're working in is quite industrial. But if we look a bit further towards the city center, and we have it in our render, there's a bit of a race between the big evil capitalists to build the tallest towers, and this is the one we sort of have in the horizon. I think it's a
Yes.
fun conversation we're
Yeah,
having.
of course. And yeah, I think that something that you can start with the image you already did is this idea of the perspective. No, you have the 1 point perspective, the 2 point perspective, and you also have the 3 point perspective. And in this case, in the case of the one you already did with insertion, you are kind of you took it with a Google Street, or you went there and took the picture?
I went there.
Great.
It's not so
Well,
far.
yes. No, it's super well composed, I think, in my opinion. And one thing that I would suggest is that in architecture, in most of the cases, and there's a lot of things that we can discuss. Why is that is most of the time we work with 1 point and 2 points, and that implies that the vertical the vertical lines are always straight and are always parallel. They are not uh, kind of inclinated. You know, when they reach the frame, the edge of the frame, they are always parallel. So something that you can do with this picture you took is to maybe Antonio can help you, or we can help you to, and all of you when you take the pictures, to straighten all the vertical lines, to put it all in parallel, like 2 points perspective in this way.
This is actually a conversation that we had already for the mid-crits in the group. But it's something of whether to represent more in like the human scale or if to make the order. I think we were a bit split, but
Yes. Yeah,
In
of course.
in general, all the photography of architecture, you know, you have this tool like either in Lightroom or Camera Raw or also Photoshop that you can very easy, uh, yeah, make like the vertical straight. But then, yeah, it's just like a super small correction, no? What Tommy mentioned, it's very
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
slight. It's just to correct that so the image is more straight. But I agree that it's good that you took the picture and you did the exercise of inserting the building.
Yeah, and also I was at the beginning, I was trying to guess if the project was slightly inclinated, because at the beginning I didn't notice that the building
what?
of the
If the
photo.
tower is like the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yeah, it was like a kind of an homage of the Pizza Tower, the Pizza Tower. So uh, sometimes uh, it helps to decide this kind of things. Is it adding like an extra layer of conversation that we don't want? For example, we want the people who will look at this image to think about an inclinated tower, or we don't want to think about it. We want to think about it, for example, its relation of these balconies and the masses that you have inside, or sometimes something like that could add or stop thinking in the like the more important parts of the project and start thinking something that is maybe, I don't know, like an anecdote. So that just for you to decide. Um, but maybe we can go through the images. I think there are a lot of good cameras that I would like to point. And you did this with a Blender, or which software you use?
The ones that look more rendered, they are rendered actually in Rhino, and then the rest are just view grabs from Rhino.
Ah, okay, okay. Yeah, I think that, of course, when we talked about these distances, which type of distance do you think you are using in these images?
I would
Are
say
they
we're
long,
I would say we're
medium,
quite
or
far. in most of them. Also with the lens length, because of this, like how to represent the tower. It's a very tall thing,
Yes.
and the logic is vertical. So when you only get the base, I guess we have this in maybe one of them, like this one here, or maybe you can't see my cursor.
Yes.
But it's very easy to get carried away wanting to represent the whole tower,
Yes.
and then you get a bit far away.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's correct that that strategy. And as you mentioned, I think it's got a lot of intention to get that tower under construction in the very back. So I would say if we need to decide which side of the tower we want to stand, are we going for the first test that you are looking to the opposite side, or are we going to the more to the maybe the fifth or the fourth one?
I think definitely these ones, which is also the same as the one we already did.
Yes.
It's looking more towards the city and to this context that it's coming from, rather than this purely industrial. Yeah.
Yeah, agree totally.
And it's also from the south or the southwest, which gives it a bit nicer light. And it's
Yes.
like the building is opening up to the side and closing off more to the north. So
Yes. Totally. I would like discard the ones that are looking to the other side. I think it's if that's something that is important for your project, the relation to that city that it's coming from that part of from that area, we go for the other ones. And maybe I think the discussion is about the facades. If now we all agree that we were standing from the right part, looking like to the building, I would say that if we want to show the building from its side facade, or if we want to show the side facade and the front facade a bit more like in a closer scale. But because now with the one you did, we are very like almost frontal to the side facade, right?
mm,
But you can do some tests with the camera. I don't know, placing the camera maybe, or placing yourself maybe in this sidewalk and taking different positions. And you will need to balance the relation between the back tower and these guys over here.
mm.
So in this case, I will take the depth. I will try to
Where did he go? Oh, there he is.
like this. And here you have very clearly which is the foreground, the midground, the background, right?
Mm.
So balancing those three elements and not forgetting that you need to show your building. And if you are happy showing one of the facades and the other is kind of you are almost missing it, or you want to compensate a little bit more and to turn the camera a little bit to the left to start seeing a bit clearer the turn of the facades. I think that's the discussion to test.
Yeah.
But I think the distance is already pretty good. So as Hero showed there, maybe you can go something. For example, in the one that Hero selected here in the mirror, can you see it? Yeah.
No.
Mm,
Yes.
that one? Yeah, exactly. For example, I would say that I'm not sure if the tower is going to be visible here.
Mm.
So maybe we need to stand a bit closer to the edge of the road. And another thing is that in this case, for example, this foreground, it's maybe too shy, right? So we would like it to be more similar to the one you use in your insertion.
Yeah, also the one in the left, maybe it's even a better option. You have like this tree that is like capturing too much the attention, but you have more proportion of context. And I don't know, maybe it's because you didn't make the scan of the tower of the first image that you we were talking about. But yeah, I think that you should go through with this point of view, like making all those tests Tommy was mentioned to see what happened if you see a little bit more of the other facade or not. But there are good cameras.
Yeah, and very quickly, so we can move to another group, but for the interiors, what have you been thinking about?
Do you want to say something about that?
So basically, we're just grasping some like garden vibe into this building, like garden level, and and these are just screenshots from, and yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Mhm.
It's just some like we're trying to define this space, garden space, only by the five cores,
Yes.
and some of the images are how this in between space looks like, and some of them are from outside, some of them from inside, and some of them are from inside the little blocks, a little cores. For example, like the last one is like looking from one of the cores to the garden level.
I guess maybe there's also an interesting conversation to have about the fact that the quality that this room has is its emptiness. So how do you capture the emptiness in a way, or yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in that case, if you go to the plants, I think that you should be like very pragmatical in the way you position the cameras. I think you should make like a very it's you have these volumes that they are like rotated, and that's it's something good for the photograph for me, because you can stand like very in a wide point perspective, and then you can have like these volumes that are like shifting like the angles of the things. So I think that you should go for a picture of this site and try to go, yeah, not to go to the balcony, but to try to stay inside and to talk about this green space and how it reacts to these volumes.
Yeah, and something I was thinking in relation to that is that whenever you have only one shot for one interior, I would say that it's important to select like the kind of the comment on the project that you would like to do with the picture. So I think that it's super powerful, the relationship between this very strict glazing that you propose that it's this square, and then you have this kind of more like freely volumes that are positioned in the inside of the plant. So that relation between this glazing, it's a material that it's transparent and reflective, and it's got like straight angles uh, in opposition to these very um, massive volumes that are hard, they are quite heavy and closed, and with a material that it's the opposite of a glass. So that opposition, I think, it's the one of the things that you could try to convey with this image. So I would try to, for example, again, start by cameras that are straight in the space, and the only things that are turned are the volumes. So maybe it's similar to this one, I would say. And but maybe you will need to test, because it's nice how the project with these volumes is getting closer and farther away from the glazing. So maybe here I'm not sure if I would point the camera to the part of the project that it's getting closer, because it would give this idea that it's maybe like a small space. Maybe if you place a camera in there and point it in the opposite way, this the space will be opened and you will see the turn of the glazing. So it could be something like this.
Yeah.
And another thing is that if you get too close to the glazing, you will have like almost half of the image of this glass facade. And maybe I would get away a little bit from that facade to open up a little bit more the space in that frame.
Mm.
And the same we comment in the last group. Remember always to get rid of the parts that maybe they are too distorted. For example, that part.
Yeah.
So maybe that's too much. If you draw the figure here and the figure is a lot smaller than, for example, this chair, is that something is wrong, you know? You know, the for example here the figure could be like that, and this chair is almost double of the figure. So if that chair is super important to the project, well, we can keep it. But if it's not, we can always.
I think something interesting about this also, what is the element or the main motif you had, the example you used with Charlie and Camilla before, the reference you put, it almost has no element, or what would you say that the sort of motif
Yeah, that's a
is?
Yeah,
good
yeah.
one.
You should erase like the the people
I
in
would
this
say you're talking about this interior, right?
Mm.
I would say, and we do it all the time in the office, is the structural spans sometimes are our figures because we love structures. And you can say that it's that one, maybe it's that one, but in many of our images we are using the figure of a span as our focus in the image, and here they more or less they have the same distance here and here, and maybe they are doubling the distance on top in relation to the bottom.
But I guess by also letting the lines continue all the way, you're really highlighting the length.
Yes, of course. For example, if this would be my image in the office, I would tell Hero, I think it's too much there. And it happens all the time.
Okay.
But I won't crop it because it's Artifactory Lab. It's genius.
Mm. But yeah, for the interior ones, try to stay like straight to the structure, like to the principal structure, and the things that shift the images are these volumes, like as an internal rule to test some cameras.
Yeah.
Like that can help you.
Thank you.
Maybe we can move to the next group.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, thank you guys. Maybe for all of us, for next week class, we would ask you to like kind of fine tune the cameras we discussed and maybe have like some tests in relation to the ones we suggested, and you will need to choose one of them to work on this material and turning on and off layers that we I don't know if you already read the program, but we can send it to you on email.
Yeah, we have it. We have it already. We have it printed
Okay.
also in the studio.
Yes.
And we
Perfect. I don't know, Gonza, if you agree that for next class we can have like, I would say half of the class discussing, like doing another review of cameras, and the other half could start discussing about materials.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Great.
Yeah, that's super.
I don't know which is the next you think it's best to try to cover the different type of buildings.
What do you think? I mean, maybe one that is significantly different. For example, the project of Danian and Puli, which is more of a fragmented mass that is very horizontal and difficult to capture in terms of figure,
Yes.
maybe in terms of at least clarity of the figure.
Great.
Would that were you guys ready?
I'll be here in a minute, Kero. Can you?
Yeah, sure. Hi guys. We were very intrigued about these images, like the first ones. Which program did you use to make
I
them?
used the Twinmotion.
Twinmotion? It's everything come from Twinmotion, or did you use some AI tools?
It's all Twinmotion.
Okay, nice. Super nice results for the materials. Super nice. But yeah, I don't know if you want to explain a little bit about the project itself.
Yeah, we have Terrace and Rammed Earth as our assigned topology and material. And we have basically used the different services and covered them with rammed earth and cylinder shapes and placed them around depending on function. So the structure and service is one. So there's bathrooms and kitchens depending on sizes and ventilations. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. No, I think that you have like great cameras. Maybe just like in continuity to the exercise, I think that most of the images are like, if we discuss about distance, you are more in a close up, or maybe like very close medium distance. Probably the last one is like the one more related with the context, and maybe from our side we would like to see how the building react to the context as the one we were discussing before. But in terms of cameras, I think that there are nice cameras in terms of compositions. So I don't know from where, as we were discussing before, from where do you think you can explain more like the relationship between the building and the context?
I think especially on this version, I think the site isn't as well integrated to the structure.
The main road, it's here. It's on the on the right. Okay. And the last one, like the last image, you are taking it from like an internal street.
Yeah, it's on
Okay. It's very nice. I think that maybe for the exercise and to have like also different cameras, it will be nice to explore like this the last one. Maybe that's a reference. I don't know if who put it there, if Tommy or who, but it's a nice example. Maybe now you're having like too much of the context on your right, and you can try to see more of the building. But then I think that you should play a little bit again with the shape of the plants, that you have like these diagonals. Maybe you can try to see what happen if you stay frontal to one of the lines, and then let the building like make the perspective itself, no? Because I think that most of the images, there is no one that is completely frontal to one of the slabs, you know.
I think it's nice that in this case they got this reference that it's got a lot of buildings, and they don't have either like a single grid. They have different positions and rotations, and it's nice to think about it, how it's constructed and how it's organized this image, because it also have the these different rotations.
Yeah, it came to my mind like this project. I think I imagine that you saw it, but this one by Christian Querés. It's like I don't know if you saw it. I'm going to
Oh yeah. This one.
yeah, it's made of bricks, but it has like a same shape. So I think that always it's good to have like the reference, no, of a similar project to see how they. When I want to put like the image in the. Let me see if I can do it like this. Yes. No, there is something like similar. Maybe it's more like a kind of close up or medium distance, but it's nice to have it as references. I didn't go through all the images of the project, but maybe there are some that can help. And then regarding interior, maybe I don't know if there is any special space that you think that it's more important to explain it.
This specific, I don't know. What do you think? Because this one is more different units, but we have kind of moved to more collective spaces. So
Which one? Sorry, can you mark it in the mirror board?
no, because this one we have more individual units.
Okay.
But there's another newer concept. But for this one,
this test you did it with Blender?
no, this is also twin motion.
Motion. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think that the camera, maybe that one you are pointing, it's a nice view because you can have more sense of the exterior, like this relationship, which is nice, and also like the natural illumination looks very good. I think that now Tommy is cropping, like searching for some rules. But I think that you can make some tests like being more straight to the structure and let these circles to make like the random accidents, you know. See what happened. But I think that your cameras are pretty nice. I don't know, Tommy, what you want to talk about that one in particular?
I think I think this one has got a lot of potential because it's like showing from the inside the outside, and it's showing the turn of the grid. I really like this one, and also I think it's the one that shows the best like the edge of this thing that it's turning a lot, and maybe the rest the camera is maybe too much in the inside of the space and not as we mentioned in the other groups, trying to show the moments of the project, and sometimes the moments are the changings, like changing from the inside to the outside. So sometimes that is a part of the project that is the best to show in one image what's happening there and how it's the project working. So I would test these moments of the project when it's changing from outside to inside. That's why I chose this one.
Wait. Yeah, regarding the exterior, I mean, this one, like the last one, is a good one. I don't know what you think, Tommy, but also I like, yeah, I like many of them. Like the one from the streets is nice also, in case you take a picture and to see how it reacts in a possible insertion. Yeah, I think that this one can also be nice image. They're all very nice. Maybe we can define one so you can focus like mostly. Maybe we can say that the last one. I don't know, Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, I would suggest trying to add some more sky. Again, if we let me add some sky. Just to get again, if the figure is this one, I would sound like obsessive because I am. But again, here we have the figure, and how is the relation between this figure and the margins of the frame, right? So where is the line, the object, or the space that is in the middle? So, for example, if we make this grid super quick.
Okay, maybe we can add one more.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
We were thinking, so we have two more typologies maybe we would like to cover. One is the courtyard typology, and the other one is the enfilade. So, Emil,
Yeah.
do you want to talk about yours? Emil.
Which one is it, Caro?
The one that says Inque es la...
Inke, perfect.
¿La encontraste? Ellos tienen un patio.
Mm.
And then there's the enfilade, which we could find after if there's time. But maybe because there's a lot of interior in this one, how do you focus on the interior side of the courtyard and then also like the whole surrounding of the courtyard? Maybe you can decide, Emil, what you focus on. You missed the first part of the presentation.
No, I had it in
you
my
had
ears.
it? Okay,
Yeah,
so you're
I heard
good.
everything.
Okay, so then you...
Yeah.
Thank
Hello.
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 I think what we wanted to do with our project, just maybe to briefly retell it, we're working with a perimeter wall and have rammed earth and courtyard as our keywords. And in the first iteration of the process or the project, we ended up with two courtyard spaces with living spaces on each side of the courtyards. And that's where this image is from as well. It's from this side of the courtyard. I think further on in the project, we're going to work with the perimeter wall as more solid and maybe a bit more as a monolith, and not have it be as transparent as it's represented in the image. But yeah, I think what we tried to do with the shots that we sent is to, as Carolina mentioned, represent the relation from the inside to the outside. So in most of them, we have snapshots from like an interior walkway underneath awnings and through the courtyard spaces. And I think what we tried to focus on is the length of the project a bit. Yeah.
I think that you have nice cameras. Like regarding the exterior view, I don't know. I think I like the one like both exteriors, like here, like the third one and the fourth one. Maybe again, like I think that we should apply some of these rules that we were just talking about, like where if the figure, if it's center or if it's shifted, maybe the figure it's where the project like change here. It's not necessary that the figure is the whole project, but it's maybe like an accident from the project. And then I also like this one from the facade that you bring here. I don't know if this is an access to this patio that you are talking about.
Yeah.
Or regarding the exterior ones, I like both. Maybe the second one, it's more related to the context. But then I think that you can also make some more like radical test from the patio. Maybe I don't know if you stand like very in the middle of the patio and look very frontal to the building. I don't know from which side it's like is the best to explain the project, but that will be like the obvious and the radical one that can work. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you have two patios like this one. It's a patio also. And
It's
this.
a bit difficult to to follow where your mouse is pointing.
Sorry, I am in the floor plan.
Zoomed in too much, or?
I'm in the floor plan.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
You're the yellow, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know because we are all with the same.
Yeah, we have two patios or two courtyards.
Okay.
For now.
So I think, yeah, I think that you can make like some radical test, like standing like from an eye point of view, like in the center of the patio and be very frontal and radical.
Mhm.
After that, you can start playing of shifting if maybe you go to a corner and again applying the rules. Like for example, I don't know, maybe I think that in the first camera here, maybe you are a little bit too high. But it's nice, for example, that I don't know if you can crop it a little bit. Sorry. Uh, 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 uh. This exercise of cropping is always super good to make quick tests. And then, for example, if you focus like the center of the image as a grid, like in the edge of both buildings, that would be nice. Sorry, I want to move. Maybe it's a little bit like this. And no, then when you start like doing this test where when you shift from a frontal view to a shifted view, you can play with the axis where both buildings are touching. I don't know, Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that another one that I thought when I saw it for the first time, the one you already did, I really like it and how it's constructed. The only thing that I think it's missing or kind of hard to read is the sequence of the two patios, right? At the beginning, before you mentioned the two patios, I didn't see the second one in that image. That's why I thought that maybe going to the plan, I thought of this point could worth testing, and it could be maybe here or maybe there. I think that maybe the first one because this patio is a bit longer and it's larger in this direction. So if you get closer to the smaller patio in this direction, then the other one would appear at the back. So maybe all the time you have to test it and you can discuss about this in the plan and then you test it and it works or it doesn't work. But I think that getting frontal to all the living spaces that it's coming like along the corridor in the opposite side of the patio, having a patio in the left and then the other patio running a bit longer in the right, it could be like a good camera to test also. And for the outside, I think that one I really like. I think we can play a lot with this if you crop it a bit more or a bit less, and what is in the background, what is in the foreground. But I really like it.
Yeah, it's very nice. And I agree with Tommy about the camera test to see both patios. Maybe it's the best option.
I think that the bad thing about it is that being under the roof could not be that nice or as much as nice as being in the middle of the patio with a kind of this corridor going around the patio. That's always that is going to work always, and the other one just to test it. I don't know.
Yeah, also, I don't know, like the one that we were discussing, like this one that I am painting in blue, it's more or less took from here. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a nice one too for me. Like you can test it. I mean, I think that with the thing Tommy is saying, it's maybe it could be very strong, but also if you can recognize like this patio over here and this patio here, also can work.
Maybe we can go to another group just to cover all of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do we have any volunteers? We could do. Shall we do? What about more towers? You wanna go, Clara? Clara has a very nice one. It's not we were this one is Clara, this tower. You don't wanna go, Clara? You wanna go, Alejandro? If you don't, I don't. Clara doesn't wanna go.
Too bad. Too bad.
But she has
She's
a,
fine.
I think
She's fine.
the came out really nice. Which one is yours, Alejandro? Here, this one.
Right.
Should I explain a little bit?
Just explain briefly what the.
Nice.
Yes. So we are trying in general to show here a little bit about the productive garden and how it goes inside of the building through the whole apartments. So in these views, we want to show like the whole building and a little bit like about the structure inside.
Mhm.
Maybe yeah, we can go through a couple of views that we wanted to show, and then you can like maybe tell us a little bit about how can we show more.
Yeah, I think that the cameras are good. Maybe for the next class, you can try to place like the context to try to play with these rules, because when you only have like the like the project in this white space, it's difficult to discuss about the framing, because we don't know where the context is and how it's going to really see how we can really see the project, and how then the project reacts. So that will be nice. But then in terms of camera, I think that they are nice. Like the exteriors, I like that they make me remember to these Becker images, but I don't know, maybe it's because we see just like the building as an sculpture, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, Tommy is drawing something there.
Yeah, I think I like this one. I like that moment. I agree that it would be, especially, I think this project is playing a lot with like the perception of the scale of the whole project. So if you look at it very quickly, maybe you think it's kind of a house. It's like a one-story house, but then you realize that there's a three-story building. So it's playing a bit like playing tricky with the scale. That's a thing that we like a lot. Um, but I think that to finish like the decision, it would be great to have at least some context just to understand a bit more the scale and how much of the crop we will need to adjust. For example, if this is too much, maybe we need to crop here. I would say that I would try to avoid being that horizontal. I would try always to open up a little bit and maybe give it a bit of extra air in the top. That's something that we most of the time we do. But yeah, I think it's I think I really like this one. This one would be from the interior courtyard or would be from the street?
Which one?
The one I'm
Like
here.
what we see is like the interior courtyard.
Okay. So you will have like kind of a alley here, and you will go through there, or it's touching the building that it's opposite to it, like.
No, we don't have any building. I mean, just in the back or in the left, but not together with the building. It's not
Okay.
touching.
It's not touching. So you will see, for example, something like that, more or less, or I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that could be something good. There you will have like the trees there, right? And the street would go through that part. I think this one could work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will suggest. I think the one you did with you have in the presentation, it's a more squared or more like. Also, if you are taking a picture of something that is horizontal, maybe giving it like horizontal frame would be like too repetitive, and sometimes it's good to have like two different axes, like one axis of the building and the other axis of the frame. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that's something to bear in mind. I would open up a little bit more. And I think this is a very big project. I would also, for example, the third one, I think I like it. I would, for example, crop it and not showing the building in its entirely. For example, it could be like that. And you can say, okay, my figure would be this roof.
Yeah, I think that it will be nice to have some images from that side of the project, but it will be good to see what happened when you put like the context if there is going to be a building like covering too much. So then you need to try to see where you can position the camera to take that image.
And for
Regarding
interior,
the interior ones, maybe, I don't know, we can go to the plan, to the floor plan. Because now I don't know if you did like some screenshots, but they are too horizontal.
Yes.
And again, we think that maybe for talking about like space, it will be good to have more vertical formats. And I think that these spaces where maybe we can discuss about it, but this space is like it seems to be like the more radical space inside the project. Am I right?
Yes.
So it would be probably good to have an image from this space. And yeah, and you can be very radical. You can make some tests like shifting the cameras, but first of all, we can see how it looks, this space with a vertical format and maybe with a wider angle, and to recognize the structure and how it relates to these walls. Now you have model like this, like infrastructure. It's
Yeah,
like
now it's just a structure. We didn't like put any walls or anything.
okay.
That's why it's
That it is a structure for the walls, or
yeah.
you're not going to put anything.
Yeah, we haven't like done like the solid because yeah, we just thought that
Right.
we have to do the structure renderings.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have it, but just to have in mind also that probably that in the future it's going to be a wall. Like maybe for the next exercise will be good to have the wall and to see what happens if you turn it off and you leave just the principal structure. Uh, mm, 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 mm. The first image is from that space that we.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's just an horizontal.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I will do what Tommy was saying before, like cropping a little bit, like and maybe adding some more not skies, but changing the format of the image just to have more sense of the space, like there adding a little bit more of sky and adding a little bit more of floor. I don't know. So you can recognize like the ceiling here, like I don't know if this do how is the structure continue here. That will be nice to see that, or if it's in the opposite way, but it will be nice to recognize the ceiling of the project because I think it's something very important on it.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't know, Caro and Gonzalo, what do you think? Maybe we can go through the next class like inputs just to clear some if there's any question or something that you would like us to clarify.
Yeah, I think in well before that, thank you very much. I think it's quite nice to also as a first session to understand how can we how can it work also overall and how can we go through the projects of the students, maybe not all of them. But yeah, for today we'll wrap up. About this question of Thomas, guys, is there any details regarding the class of today or the next session that needs some attention, that is not clear? Yeah, for the next session, we will change room, go to a smaller room, a seminar room. And for sure, and I think we'll not have the issue of the sound that we had today, also for you guys. Yeah. But is it clear that we need to select two of them? I mean, these things are listed in the document that Ethan passed us and that we have on the poster. But if everything is clear, we close the session for today. Maybe I show you the students.
Nice.
Great. And yeah, I think that if there's any doubt that it comes later in the week, you can write an email to us and we can try to solve it before the next class. But I think the idea was because in the PDF, the program that we sent, we said that it was very strict that today's we're going to be cameras, next class we're going to be like materials and elements, layers, etc. But of course, all of the things that we discussed today would be kind of reviewed next class. So next class would have some part of like to keep discussing about cameras to fine tuning. I think most of the groups already have or the camera there is already there, and so we need to only fine tune the crops and maybe discuss some compositional things. And for next class, it would be a matter of thinking on the colors of the materials, reflections, and transparency of the materials. If that's possible, if that's something that technically we can cover and start. And I think next class would relate a bit more to what you asked about, Gonza, about the why do we have to produce images while we are doing the project. I think next class, changing colors and doing different tests and seeing how the building and the spaces reacts to different features of the materials could change drastically how we design and how we kind of structure the space on the project. So that we think next class would be more related to that. But of course, we will discuss a bit more, and it would be adding all the steps. So the next class we will discuss materials. We will keep discussing about cameras, and the third class we will talk about photography and site, but we will keep discussing materials. I will keep discussing cameras. So it's kind of an adding process.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much, guys, for today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Nice. And maybe we clap for
Nice. I will take a picture.
Bye, guys. See you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Caro.
Ciao.
Good.